What's going on, everybody? I am live in IRL stream for a few reasons, and this is just to explain kind of things that are going on. Not going to kind of get too personal details, but things that are more or less explained from me personally for everybody to see. So I want to start by saying, yes, behind the scenes, behind the camera, streaming, my name is Spooky Gamer. Everybody knows who I actually am. But outside of the camera, my name is Justin. I grew up in Canandaigua, New York. I graduated 15 years ago from Canandaigua Academy. Once a brave, always a brave. But that's not why I'm here to make this video. I'm here to make this video to explain a few things and get it off my chest. One, I suffer with disabilities. I've suffered with them all my life, and it's been a situation where I have been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD. I have taken Adderall and Concerta growing up as a kid. I haven't took it in probably over 3 years, but I am still diagnosed with ADD and ADHD, and that is one of my major disabilities. Another part of my disabilities is that I have had a lot of learning curves, learning problems growing up as a kid. As I got older, I wasn't in, as people want to call it, I wasn't in a special class with other, special kids. I was out in the public in high school with my classmates in different classes. The program was called, I don't know what it's called in every other state, but up here in New York, it's called the 1211 program, where you have your teacher, you have an aide that is in there that will help you with homework and help you along the way with other problem-solving issues that were in school. And I was in a small class, a small group of friends and classmates in these classes from 9th grade until I graduated high school 15 years ago. I did, a lot of people don't believe this, but I did play football my freshman year. I stopped playing my sophomore year. I made kind of like an odd commitment of walking away from football for a year to go back and doing my summer job. And then I did my summer job part of my junior year. Then I went back to playing varsity football, and I played football all the way up until I graduated high school. Unfortunately, I couldn't play any more contact sports because I took 2 concussions, one during practice my junior year, one outside of practice my senior year, and it ended me not playing contact sports. I was actually going to play lacrosse. I had it all signed up that I was going to play lacrosse until my doctor said no more contact sports in high school. Excuse me. But back to my disabilities. I have had, when I was a baby, I got told this story by my mom, and this is a true story. My mom hit black ice. She wasn't speeding. She just hit black ice, and she flipped her car over from the story I got told. And when the car flipped, my mom was passed out. I was still in the car seat. I wasn't even a year old. I was months old still at the time. And when my mom came to, my car seat was laying next to her, and apparently from what the story got told is my head was laying on her shoulder. Also, from what the story got told from me as well, from my mom's aspects, my mom told me that I still had a soft spot on my head. So they didn't really fully check me out at that time. It was just, I had to make, I wasn't old enough to make decisions, and my mom was very, very worried. I'm also going to give you a background on me. I'm an only child. I don't have any brothers or sisters, so I know nothing about, people that have siblings. But that's just how it is with me. As for, going through the other processes of school, I was never really a troubled kid. I stayed out of trouble all my life in school. Never really was in detention. Never really, they call it off-site here. Never had off-site before. Never had any of those problems other than the learning curve issues. I'm going to let everybody know, I almost didn't graduate high school. It took my counselor, my mom, and a few teachers to able for me to pass school. And that is something that I don't think I could ever, put in my imagination of going through. I'm glad I'm out of school now, because it's a lot of, it's a lot worse now in school and in today's world. But like I said, I do have disabilities. I have been diagnosed with a lot of things. But I'm going to go on my mental health side of aspects here too. Mental health is a serious thing for me. It's gotten worse since my uncle Steve passed away. And I was just a young kid at the time when my uncle Steve passed away. And unfortunately, I never really got the chance to say goodbye to my uncle Steve. And I'm going to admit it, I don't like losing to death. I'm a sore loser when it comes to death. I will absolutely admit that. But that started taking my mental health toll. At points, it started taking my mental health started going downhill when I lost my uncle Steve. From there, I was diagnosed with PTSD. When I'm going to advance it here a handful of years later, my other grandfather on my dad's side, his dad passed away 10 years ago. And I saw him dead in his bed. I'm not going to get into details of how he passed away. That's nobody else's business but my own and my family's. But that sent shockwaves to my mental health as well. And that's where I got diagnosed with PTSD. I have lost pets that had put me into diagnosed with PTSD because I have watched them pass away in front of me, including my lovely and best friend of all time, my dog that I had for 16 years, Bandit. I post them a lot on my social media sites, but unfortunately I'm not going to have links up to them. But he was a great dog, and unfortunately God just, decided it was his time, and he crossed the Rainbow Bridge. But I watched the veterinarian put the needle in his arm. I watched him tell me and my mom that he's gone. And it's one of those emotional things that I don't like talking about. My grandfather on my mom's side, I was the youngest of 23 grandkids. My mom was the youngest of 10. So I can admit it, I was a spoiled grandchild from both of my grandparents. And it's just the way it goes when it goes to youngest grandkids or even the youngest child. So that is kind of serious here when people start messing around with, my grandfather and my grandmother. I love both of my grandparents to death. They taught me a lot of life lessons. My grandfather certainly did. Background on my grandfather a little bit. My grandfather was a kid of the Great Depression. He was a chemical war engineer in World War II. He signed up in 1942. That's all I know, and he was over in Germany. I don't know much about him from that aspect. I just know that's what it was for him. My grandma was born in 1931, so she was part of that aspect of the Great Depression as well. She is a wife of and a mother that was a great person. She loved her Elvis Presley. That's why I listened to Elvis for my grandma, to keep her spirits going. And I watched the Yankees for my grandfather because that was who I was a fan of. My grandfather was a Yankee fan. I became a Yankee fan. I root for the New York Rangers in spirit for my grandfather. I root for the New York Giants in spirit for my grandfather. My grandfather also loved Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was a big fan of Dale Earnhardt. Recently, a year before he passed away, I got him into dirt racing. He was slowly coming around to dirt racing. So, on that note, that's kind of why I run the year he was born for him on dirt. But that's besides the point. I'm back to the mental health thing. The last thing I'm going to say now is that I am seeing a counselor and a psychiatrist. I shouldn't be announcing that, but I'm getting help as needed. But this is how this is going to end. 2 years ago, I dated a girl, and I was living with roommates at the time, and I was asleep. The last thing I remember is I came to, and I knew something was wrong because the lower half of my body was messed with. The next night, I went to bed, and I had nightmares about it. The following morning, she came in and saw me, and I didn't want her to touch me. I didn't want her to be around me because I just knew something happened to me. Unfortunately, when I reported it to law enforcement, it just didn't turn out. They didn't do anything. They didn't accept the information. They shrugged it off like there was, fortunately we can't do nothing about it. But that's kind of where the PTSD comes into play. And I can admit this, I take medicine for my anxiety. I take hydroxyzine for my anxiety. I've taken a ton of medication for my depression. I am on trazodone for my sleep because of the night terrors that I get. So that's pretty much where I stand with my disabilities. That's pretty much where I stand with my mental health. I'm only explaining this live on YouTube so my subscribers and friends can see this and know what I have unfortunately have been through in my life. I don't really want to go all into details with it because it will take over an hour, and I just don't have an hour to spare today. But then is that, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, behind the scenes, my name is Justin. Like I said, I went to Canandaigua Academy in New York. I graduated 15 years ago, and I can admit, yeah, this is what I look like. Yeah, I am not obese, but I am overweight. But, hopefully by the summer, I love to go fishing, so hopefully by the summer I'm able to get out and go for a walk where I live and start losing some pounds to go fishing. And that's that. That's kind of what cures my mental health anyways, is to go fishing. I have, the last thing I'm going to let you know is I love fishing. My grandfather went fishing. And unfortunately, I never knew his stories of what he caught or anything. I just know that he knows that I caught, so far, my best fish was last year, a 13-inch largemouth bass. It was almost about 2 pounds. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Justin. Not going to give you my last name. A lot of people probably already know you know, what my last name is. But my name is Justin outside the scenes. I'm SpookyGamer1993 in the video game world, and, you know, and racing with my friends or doing whatever online. But I just wanted to make this video to let you know what my disabilities have been in school. Another thing I'm going to let you know, my last thing I'm going to let you know, is I took a serious back injury in high school football, and I also took another one like 3 years after, outside of, from after I graduated school 3 years ago. You know, me and a couple of friends were screwing around playing football a little bit, and unfortunately, you know, someone tackled me the wrong way, and I landed the wrong way down onto the ground, and at that time it was winter time, and it was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and it fucked up my back two ways to Sunday. So other than that, guys, that's it for me. I am not going to make a title. I'm not putting a description out there for anybody. That's all I had to say. And pretty much, yeah. Like I said, my name is Justin, SpookyGamer1993, coming at you with a little video of you know, not personal things, but things that I have to get off my chest today. And that will be it. I hope everybody has a great and wonderful Saturday wherever you are, and I will see you all next time. Peace, love, bye.